Hi, in this video, I'm going to be talking about different types of resources that are available to people with breast cancer who are going through breast cancer treatment or have completed breast cancer treatment. I'll go through mental health and emotional support. I'll go through financial support, and I'll also talk about some resources to help you feel as good as possible and look as good as possible. So emotional and mental health support is really important when you're going through really any type of cancer treatment. And if you're watching this on behalf of somebody who has cancer, you know how much people need in terms of support. So I'm going to start with support groups. Support groups that are professionally led or moderated are the ones that we recommend. Support groups that are moderated by lay people without special training can often end up causing people more confusion and leave with more emotional distress. That is not true for every support group. So if you run one that's going really well, I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in general, we do recommend professionally facilitated groups. This doesn't have to be by a social worker. There are a host of people who can be trained, including former breast cancer survivors who can lead groups, but they're professionally facilitated. There are online groups and there are in-person groups. You can find these groups by going to the American Cancer Society website or just Googling for support groups in your area. Throughout the entire world, there are support groups for people who have had cancer, including breast cancer. The next thing I'd like to talk about is professional emotional support, and that would be through counseling or therapy. Counseling and therapy are pretty much the same thing, but some people don't like to say they're in therapy. They'd rather say they're in counseling. So what I'm going to say basically is the same for both. So individual mental health support is perfect for you if you are early on in your treatment, you don't feel like you can go to a support group, if you have issues other than the breast cancer that also are complicating things, like your partnership, like being a mother of a child with special needs or a father of a child with special needs, or you have other concerns, trauma from the past that's coming alive because of everything you're going through now. If you've had medical trauma and you're re-experiencing that trauma now, seeking out individual therapy can be really helpful for you. We do have a special video just devoted to trauma and breast cancer that you might want to take a look at. Then I'm going to talk about national groups you can access on the internet no matter where you are in the world. The American Cancer Society, even though it's called American, has resources available to people online, and you can reach those through the internet, assuming you have internet access. They have trained volunteers. The other group, similarly, is the National Cancer Institute, has a patient line in which you can get live support where somebody will actually talk to you if you're going through a difficult time. There are 3 organizations specifically for people with breast cancer, actually 4, but I'll get to the last one at the very end. The Susan G. Komen line helps people out by providing emotional and informational support. Living Beyond Breast Cancer similarly has specific information. Breastcancer.org is an online organization that has a great deal of information support. The breast cancer support community also has information for people with breast cancer. There's also a group specifically for younger people. So as many of you have written to us, most of the people you see when you go to get your treatment are much older than you. The Young Breast Cancer Survivors Coalition is specifically for people who are younger who are going through breast cancer and its treatment. So I've covered a lot. You may want to pause or rewind that and go back to make sure you get all of those options. The next thing I'm going to talk about are resources that can provide some support for finances. If you don't already know, you will soon find that breast cancer treatment is expensive. I'd like to tell you about the PINK Fund. The PINK Fund is specifically for people who've had breast cancer who are employed at the time of diagnosis, who are experiencing financial disruption as a result of their breast cancer diagnosis. They have a very straightforward application for financial resources. The other group I'd like to mention is the Patient Advocate Foundation. This is a nonprofit national organization that can provide help with everything from housing, transportation, problems with meals, problems with co-pays, etc. This is an amazing organization that I recommend you reach out to if you haven't already. The American Cancer Society Road to Recovery can help people with transportation, with rides to medical appointments, and that can be a tremendous resource for you. And finally, the Cancer Care Co-Payment Assistance organization can help you with your co-payments. Now, for all of these, there are certain qualifications one has to have, but they want to make their services available. So they don't make the barrier to get services high, but just so you're prepared, they will ask you some questions before they're able to provide assistance. So you don't want to make a phone call if you have 5 minutes or go online if you have only 5 minutes. Make sure you set aside enough time. The last thing I would say is keep yourself as organized as possible. When you make these phone calls or you go on the internet, make notes. If there was a website that was helpful, either bookmark it or write it down so you don't get lost or mired in a sea of all these resources. Finally, I mentioned I would tell you about a couple of resources to help you feel like you look as much like yourself. The American Cancer Society has a program called Look Good, Feel Better. The thought being that if you can look as good as possible, if your appearance is important to you, you will feel better. So look good, feel better. And finally, there are at most hospitals or most practices something called a wig bank. If you are going to be getting chemotherapy and you expect that you'll be losing your hair, you don't have to go spend money on an expensive wig. You can actually have access to a wig that somebody else used and then donated. A really nice wig can cost up to $1,000, and people don't want to just have that sit in their wardrobe, so they will donate their wig, and that is a resource available to you, no matter your financial situation. So quite a few things I've covered in this video. I hope it's been helpful. Don't forget to go to yerbba.com, like us on Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe.